can't believe that I have been watching someone else's interview and now someone is going to watch an interview with me. This is unbelievable. I worked on it in secret for the first 2 months. I didn't tell my husband about it.
I kept my shop an entire secret also. It wasn't because I guess I didn't think people were going to be disappointed with me, but I thought that they'd be like, oh, that's silly. Like, oh, you heard this thing online and you just open your shop that very same night.
That was such a big epiphany moment for me because it was the first time when I saw it, my designs were crap. All of it. Like 1,000 listings, nothing was good. It was like another part of me floated near my body and was telling me, laughing, in my face. I mean, look at these shops and look at yours. I just thought, what am I going to do now? And what hurt the most on that day was that I was working on this shop for 2 years and 5 months. What followed after that was crazy. It was unbelievable. So sorry. He needs to say hi.
Oh my goodness.
I always knew this will work eventually and I never wanted to quit, but now I'm just so confident that I will make it and I will be a 6-figure Etsy seller, and nothing could happen now to shatter my confidence. Like, I'm doing this.
Hi, Monica. Thank you for being here with us.
Hi, Shana. Hi, everybody. Thanks for inviting me.
Yay, we're so excited you're here. So Monica's here because she just experienced 100 sales in just 4 days, which
so exciting.
She's so excited about. I know Monica because she's in, well, first of all, she's been a subscriber for a long time. She's messaged me before in the comments. And then when I started an online community, a private online community, which I'll leave linked down below, she was one of the very first members that joined that community. So I get to be a bigger part of her journey and I get to hear more details surrounding her journey. And so I've really gotten to watch these bumps in sales as they've come in. And Monica has worked really hard to get to where she's at, but she is like literally scaling her shop right now. So in this interview, we're going to hear from Monica a little bit about what that's taken, what has the consistent work behind that looked like. Maybe she'll reveal a little bit about the products that she's got in her shop or the types of niches that she's working on in her shop. So we're super excited. I think this is going to be super valuable. And just spoiler alert, I know Monica is super excited to share her journey because she can reach people on the other side of the screen in a way that maybe someone who's already like successful and has been doing this for a long time can't, because she's in the thick of it and she's just come over that hump of that, that grind. And Monica, you're in Romania, so like we'll do lives. Yes. We'll do lives over in the membership, and I go back and forth between early times and later times. But when it's my time later, Monica's on calls with me at like 2 a.m. her time. So she's like so dedicated. All right, Monica, tell us a little bit about you, your journey, what's going on with you, and how did you get to this place of 100 sales in just 4 days?
Oh, it's been crazy, such a long journey. First of all, it took me so long to find this business model. Before I started this business, I never had a job that I really loved or enjoyed. I had a job to have money to pay bills, but I never really enjoyed it. So I worked as a ice cream or cakes seller. Then I was a customer service agent. Then I worked at a travel agency, and I just felt like nothing was for me. I needed something creative, something fun, but also something that would give me freedom of location, because at my last job, my dog was very little at the time. He was like only a few months old, and my husband had a job as well, and the dog would be at home crying. We had a little camera. We would see him crying in front of our door, and our hearts just broke. I couldn't quit from that job because I had signed a contract that I would be there for 3 years. That was so frustrating. I felt like an animal in a cage. And all I wanted to do was be home with my dog and find out what I want to do find something that I love. And so when the pandemic started, the agency closed down, and I know that was a hard time for a lot of people, and I really feel sorry about that for everybody. But for me, it was such a relief because they fired me and I was finally free and able to figure out what I wanted to do. So I looked for ways to make money online, remotely. It was always so hard for me to get things going, just start doing something. I didn't have an income since the pandemic ended for like 2 or 3 years. And I thought, let me just have another look on the internet to find a way to make some money, like on the side, just some pocket money so I could buy myself a coffee or a book or a dress or whatever. And I have no idea what did I type into the YouTube search bar. Because I have no clue about print on demand or Printify, but somehow whatever I typed on YouTube, one of the first videos that came up was a Cassie Johnson's video, and I clicked into that just out of curiosity to see what's about, and I was hooked from the first minutes. And I thought, this could really work. Like, this could really work for me. I thought it would only be something that I do to have some money on the side. But when I saw that video, before I even realized it, I opened my Etsy shop. I don't know what happened. I think on the inside, I felt it. I knew it was for me because I just didn't hesitate at all.
I love that. And it's funny because I feel like most of us have that moment where video grabbed us and it was like, okay, no, this could be for me. For me, it was the Life Hacker couple. There was a video that they did and it was the same concept, Monica. They were talking about how they made like 900,000, which would have been their revenue. So let's say $300,000 profit, probably around that, in like sight of, I think, 7 months. And they kind of just, it was like their journey story. Very much like your journey story that you're going to be telling us today. And it was like, oh my God, he's saying I can do it too. It grabbed me. And then I think I opened my shop that very same night also. It was like, okay, no, this is for me. For the person on the other side of the screen, if you have that moment like Monica and I have, and you know what video it was that like snatched you off of your seat and like, no, this is it. This is it. This is for you. Drop a link to that video down below. We'll get this like huge inspiration like board going down in the comments. And by the way, I didn't know a lot of this. I thought I knew most of your journey story. I didn't know you had all of these jobs. I didn't know you were just searching. What can I do that is going to fulfill me and bring me to these goals that I want to get to? You had this entrepreneurial spirit because you kept like trying these different things. Yes. All right, so you watched the video and then you opened your shop.
Yeah, I opened my shop that same day, but I worked on it in secret for the first 2 months. I didn't tell my husband about it. In these 2 months, I didn't have any sales or anything. Because my designs were all crap. But I did post some listings, and then after 2 months, I just had to came clean because I'm not good at lying. I can't keep things. If I have to prepare a surprise or something for somebody, then I'm the perfect person. But otherwise, if I have to lie, it's eating me alive. I can't. And then I told him, look, I started this Etsy shop. This is what it's about. I don't have to print anything. They do this for me. They ship it. I make the designs. But I highlighted the fact that this is just something that I will do to have some money on the side. Then when he heard what this was about, he said, this sounds so great. I think you should focus 100% on this Etsy shop of yours. And I'm here to support you 100% all the way with everything that I can. And so when he said that, it was only in that moment that I realized that I actually felt relieved because that was what I wanted as well. And then I asked myself, really, I really want this. This is what I want. And it was, yeah, I want it.
I love that, making me tear up because I love that. I think that so many times, I kept my shop an entire secret also. It wasn't because I guess I didn't think people were going to be disappointed with me, but I thought that they'd be like, oh, that's silly. Like, oh, you heard this thing online and you just open your shop that very same night. I just thought that they would think it was silly. So I kept it a secret until I got my first sale. And then I guess I thought like hundreds of sales were going to start pouring in the minute I got my first sale. And I was telling everyone, oh my God, you have to open a shop. Oh my God. And so I got super excited and just spilled the beans to everybody. But I think because I was so enthusiastic at that time, people were supportive of me. But people have told me that they have not been supported in their idea of opening the shop for themselves. I love that your husband was like, just go full steam on this. If someone on the other side of the screen is needing support, like people in your life maybe don't see the value in this, and you're trying to do this for yourself, and you see what potentially could be the outcome for you, and you need support, go down to the comments. We will support you. Monica and I will come in there and we will give you some support. We will say, the things that, we will be encouraging of you. And for anyone that maybe this is your first video hearing this, when Monica mentioned the business model, we're selling on Etsy print on demand, which means we're designing things using like an app like Canva or Kittl or GoDaddy Studios. The most popular one is probably Canva. There's tons of tutorials online about how to use Canva to make a simple little image graphic or text, put latex. You buy some mock-ups off of Etsy, which are pictures of your product. You superimpose that on top of your product. And then we use a print-on-demand shop like Monica was mentioning. And that just means that the print-on-demand shop like Printify will actually take your image for you. They print it on the product, and Printify will pack it up and send it out, and you can have the whole system automated. And so Printify is really doing all of the heavy lifting and all of the work while we're just doing the creative part, the designing. So for anyone that was confused by that, that's how it works. And it really is an incredible business model because Monica's selling now 100 items in 4 days. She doesn't have to print all of those items, right, Monica? Like, you Printify, go ahead and do all that while I keep doing the fun part, the creating part.
My husband was very supportive from the beginning. I loved that. I needed that. I knew he wouldn't be disappointed. It was all in my head, but the thing is that before he started his career in IT, he had a handmade business here in Romania that didn't work out so well. And I didn't want him to somehow associate that with what I do. I think that what I didn't realize was that he would look at it from a different perspective. He would actually compare and see that the fact that I don't have to make these things myself like he did in his business, it's such a great thing that I only design and I can do this from anywhere. And then I really started to focus 100% on this. But I hated to see my shop with 0 sales and 0 reviews. And because I'm not in the US, I don't have family or friends to ask when you purchase something or anything. And so I had these friends on Bookstagram, which I shared book reviews, and we developed a friendship, even though we never met in real life, just like we do in the membership now. And so I made a discount coupon and I sent a few friends a message. Hey, I opened this Etsy shop, and if you need something, if you like something, here's a discount for you. And so that was in April 2023, like 2 months after I opened my shop, and 2 friends purchased something in April, and then another friend purchased a shirt in May. So I finally had a few sales in my shop, a few reviews, and it was not 0.
And that's such a good feeling. Even if it's not organic, it just makes you feel better. Like, okay, I got
Yeah, so I thought, now let's go for the organic sales. But my designs were still bad. Like that went on 4 months. And I knew nothing about research. I was just designing what I liked, what ideas I had in my head. Nothing was based on research. And it took me so long to finally get some sales. So it was June, 0 orders, July, 0 orders. In August, eventually, I had my very first 2 organic orders, one from ads, 100% organic from search results. And they were both Halloween designs in August. So hearing all these people on YouTube about Q4, how much money you're going to make, and seeing that in August I have already 2 orders and they're both Halloween, I thought I'm gonna make so much money this Q4. But it didn't work out that way.
Did you find yourself so many times during the journey like, oh, it's happening now? Like,
but those were just my very first 2 organic orders. So in September, I had 0 orders. In October, only 1 order. And it was just an evergreen item, not Q4 related. So at the end of October, I was so upset that it's Q4 already and things are not going as planned. And I had just finished making my first batch of ornaments designs, because I had seen a video of Cassie. She posted it, I don't know, like the end of August or the beginning of September, something like that. And she said in the video, the time to list ornaments is now. So I made whatever t-shirts I wanted to make, and by the time I got to design ornaments, because they weren't a priority, it was the end of October. And so I thought, what's the point in listing these now? She said, the time to list them is the end of August, the beginning of September. I'm not even going to bother. And then I remembered your videos. In many videos of yours, you were saying that you heard someone saying that you should list until Black Friday weekend. And you kept mentioning that story, how you always try to do this to keep listing until Black Friday weekend, and this brought you a lot of success that first Q4, not the first year when you started, but the first full year.
Yeah.
And then a lot of other people on YouTube were saying start listing for every holiday 4 months, 3 months ahead. And so I had two options. I listened to all those people, or I listened to Sean. And I had started watching you on YouTube that summer, like since July, and I felt I related to you the most, and I felt I understood so much better the way you explain them than other YouTubers. And so I thought, I'm going with Shauna. I'm going to list these ornaments, and I'm going to design more ornaments, and I'm going to keep listing for Christmas until Black Friday weekend. And so that worked pretty well. I had 11 orders in November and 38 orders in December. And so a total of 49 orders, and 46 of them were ornaments that I almost never posted.
Oh no, I'm so glad you put one of them. Yeah, it is great to start. You want to start early, but for Christmas, right up until Black Friday, and then switch gears, go do something else. But I hustle every year right till Black Friday, and it was the life hacker couple that said that. I remember it was while I was still teaching fourth grade classroom, and I was on my way home in the Jeep. I remember where I was because I was on my way home. I was going over this little bridge, and I was thinking like, okay, when I get home, I want to hit the ground running. I got to start designing. I just, constantly we're obsessed. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I saw it a week before Black Friday, and I thought, well, clearly I'm listing for Christmas late as it is. Let me start thinking, should I start Valentine's Day? What should I do? Evergreen? What am I going to list when I get home? And Jaron from Life Hacker Couple got on the YouTube video and said his exact words, I implore you. Those his exact words. I implore you to keep listing for Christmas until Black Friday. And I said, okay, you're doing exactly how I would like to be doing in my shop. Done. I got you. I'm going to keep going. And I did have a really good Christmas that year. And it was one of my items that I listed on Black Friday that became a bestseller. So I was like, oh my God, thank God I did that. Because I almost, if I hadn't heard that video that day, that wouldn't have happened. And I would have done something else that afternoon and for the rest of the week. All right, yeah, so I'm so glad.
Your journey always inspired me, so that's why I went with you, with your advice, and I'm so glad I did.
I was like, and so I know every year you're doubling down on your ornaments for sure because you did so good then.
Yeah, I did double down last year, but then I took them down.
Oh,
I removed them completely because I had a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
And they were not printing well, and now I don't sell ornaments anymore.
You sell them.
Yeah. But yeah, so at the end of 2023, I was glad that I got a little bit of traction with these ornaments, but I was upset because Q4 wasn't this big success that everyone was telling about. I didn't make the money that YouTubers were telling I could make, and so I was also upset that I didn't sell shirts or sweatshirts because I thought, okay, Christmas is over. Nobody is going to purchase ornaments anymore. And I did not sell shirts or sweatshirts. What am I going to do now? How am I going to keep this little traction that I got in my shop? And at that moment, you made a video on YouTube about 6 or 7 things a successful Etsy seller does. I watched that video, and when I clicked on it and I saw the title, I already said to myself, I'm going to do everything that a successful Etsy seller does. Like everything that I can, I'm going to put into practice from this video. And so one of the things that you said was that a successful Etsy seller always analyzes what goes on in their shop and tries to improve and make progress based on analyzing like their past. And so I thought I have to do this. And I really, really tried to take a step back and be objective and actually try to see why it didn't work for me,
because I had put up so many listings. Like I almost had 1,000 listings in my shop by that point, and so I didn't understand why this doesn't work. So I opened a tab with my shop, like not with listings, but the way people would see my shop if they came to my shop to purchase something. And then I opened a few other tabs with shops that were successful and that were like where I wanted to be, 10,000, 30,000, 50,000 sales. And I just started to scroll down on my shop, really look at everything. And then I moved on to the other tabs and looked at their shops. And that was such a big epiphany moment for me, because it was the first time when I saw it, my designs were crap. All of it. Like 1,000 listings, nothing was good. It was like another part of me floated near my body and was telling me, laughing, in my face, I mean, look at these shops and look at yours.
It's like the little devil.
You're not making any sales in shirts and sweatshirts. I mean, look at this. This is so crap. What is that? And I couldn't believe it. It was so painful to realize that I have been working almost an entire year, day and night, making almost 1,000 listings for nothing.
But I got chills when you started saying this activity, because as I remember the video you're talking about and that habit, and I now I'm like, oh, I have to redo that video and like put this activity in that you did. Like anyone listening right now, go do this. Do this before you get to 1,000 listings.
Yeah, please do this. And it's painful otherwise.
You're like, have your alter ego that floats out of yourself, that talks to yourself, make it talk to you a little nicer than Monica's did. But that is really, it is eye-opening to like put like, this is what's in search results for you, because you get caught up and you're only in your shop without comparing like this. I made this Be Kind shirt, and this is what is the best sellers. And the way mine is framed, the mock-up that it's on, and the actual design, does it hold a candle to these other bestsellers? What a brilliant activity. All right, so you learned so much from this.
Yes, so that was such a big epiphany moment. And I promised myself in that moment that every design that goes out in my shop from that point forward will be on trend. It will be research and it will be on trend, and it will look like the best sellers out there, not in the sense that I was going to copy, but it will just look on trend. And I didn't care how long it was going to take me, but every design that goes out will look on trend. And that's what I did. So that was at the end of 2023.
Monica, before you get to your next part of your journey, when you had the 1,000 listings, do you remember about how many sales you were at?
In my first 9 months, I know I had 9 sales in my shop. And then after that were the sales from November and December, which were 49. So 58, about 58.
Okay. All right. So for the person listening on the other side of the screen, this might feel really encouraging to you, because again, Monica's at a place now where she just got 100 sales in 4 days. 100 sales in 4 days. That's incredible. And I was very similar, maybe just a smidge faster than you, in the sense that I remember when it was 770 something listings. I remember specifically because I got on a live that the Life Hacker couple was doing, which was the channel that I was listening to at that time. Cassie Johnson hadn't started her channel yet. she was learning from the Life Hacker couple also, and she wound up doing an interview with them, which was very motivating to me, in the same way that your interview with me is going to be very motivating to other people. I watched these interviews on loop. That's what people are going to be doing with this interview. You're going to like,
yeah, I can't believe that I have been watching someone else's interview on loop, like you said, and now someone is going to watch an interview with me. This is unbelievable.
You're passing it forward. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so we think 100%. We think that we are supposed to have more sales at 700 or 1,000 listings. At 770 something sales, I got on that live. I'm in the chat. By the way, every time a video premieres, Monica's usually in my chat. We always are live in the chat. We're having a conversation. We're building each other up. It always comes out on Eastern Standard Time, 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. Anyone's welcome to join us in the chat. I remember getting on their live. I have 770 listings and I had 70 something sales, and probably a good 20 of those sales were my mom. And I remember him saying, "Oh, you're on the right track. You've got this." I was like, "Okay, I got this." But you know, it's so funny because so many times people will reach out to me, especially in the membership. We get into these conversations and I'll take a quick look and I'll look and I'm like, "Oh, well, you've only got, you've got 200 listings. I know that feels like a lot, but I probably had like 3 sales." You know? So I that is going to make so many people feel better, because we really feel like, well, I've got 40 listings out. Well, why don't I have a sale yet? Why don't I see something so far? All right. So you had your out of body experience where you're telling yourself, oh my gosh, look at these listings. So what did you do next?
Yeah, so that was the end of 2023. And then on the first day of January 2024, I wanted to start the new year working on my shop, designing, and putting into practice what I promised myself. So I thought, after being so frustrated with what I was working on and didn't work out, I need something fresh, something new. So what niche do I want to start in my shop? Something that's new, and I never did it. And so I decided on the bachelorette niche, and I started designing January 1st, and by the time I was finished with my first batch and I made the listings, it was January 5th, because it took me a while to do the research that I never did in my first year. And so I listed my first batch of designs for Bachelorette on January 5th. And 10 days later, I broke into the Bachelorette niche.
You broke it down.
Yeah. And that's when I was so determined to go with what I promised myself, that every design will be based on research and will look on trend. But when that happened, break into the Bachelorette niche in 10 days, that just was such a confirmation to what I thought the right thing to do, So I've been selling, I think, monthly in the Bachelorette niche ever since, so like a year and a half now. And then I just try to continue with my other niches, the teacher niche, and just improve my designs so that I don't end up in the same place by the end of the year, because I have read this quote many times before. If you want different results, you need to do something different. You can't do the same things as you did before and expect different results. Right. So I based my designs on research, and I've seen so much progress compared to my first year. I had months with 8, 10, 15 orders, but I also had months during 2024 with 40 orders, 54 orders. This was during the summer. And then in Q4, at the end of 2024, I had 66 orders in November and 80 orders in December. So it was still not what I wanted, right? But it was such a huge progress compared to my first year, when I had most of my months were with 0 orders, and then 1 order a month, 2 orders the next month, or something like that. And so
at the end of 2024, I realized, okay, I made progress in terms of orders from a month to the same month the year prior, right? So June was better than June of 2023 and so on. But I still didn't make a lot of money. I think I made the whole year 2,000 euros, something like that. But most of it was during Q4. And I worked even more than the first year, right? Day and night, worked on many niches, try to always make sure my designs are on trend, my mockups are on trend, and still I did not have the success that I wanted. I had, at the end of 2024, I had over 500 sales, and I didn't understand why am I moving so slow. And okay, I said, it's time for a new analysis, like I did at the end of 2023. So what did I do now that maybe didn't work, right? So
I did the same activity. I looked at my shop. I looked at other shops that were where I wanted to be. And so what I noticed this time was that if a shop had a lot of sales in the bachelorette niche, they had a few hundred listings in the bachelorette niche. And if they were big in the teacher niche, they had like 500, 600, 800 listings in the teacher section only. And I looked at my shop and I was trying to be in too many places at the same time, too many niches, and I only had like 40, 60, anyhow, below 100 listings in each of them. So I thought, okay, I don't like this. I don't like giving up niches, but it's something that I have to do because I know how last year went with great designs, great mock-ups, but being all over the place all year. I know how that went. It was better than my first year, but not what I want. So now I need to, even if I don't like it, I need to pick only a few places where I want to be and go hard and aggressive in those places and just see what happens. And if it doesn't work out, then I will figure out something else. But I have to try this because otherwise I will never know. And so I decided to go hard in the teacher niche. I will list for testing day, for last day of school, for back to school, everything. And something will have to work at some point. And then I picked other two niches where I wanted to list, and I decided I will go really, really aggressive in these three places, not more. And so
April was okay. It was like the rest of the months from 2024 and from this year. But in May, I was so disappointed at the end of May because it was the first time when I did worse in a month than the year prior. So in 2024, I had 19 orders in May. And now in 2025, after so many months with 30, 40, 60 orders, I have in May 17 orders only. At that time, it was the last day of May. And everybody in the membership, well, not everybody, but a lot of people were already posting, May was such a great month. It was the best month of this year. You know? And I was, of course, I'm happy for those people, but I was here like, why? My May is not only the worst month of this year, but it was the worst month in the past 12 months. And so it was the last day of May. I had made so many listings during that month, and those little sales that I had, I was not able to cover my listing fees and my ads. And so on May 31st, I had a debt on my account on Etsy, like 85 euros.
Darn.
And I get a notification from where we have the membership that payment has failed.
Oh no!
I knew it was the payment day, but I had no idea exactly how many euros I have in my bank account. And so I get the notification payment failed. And I just thought, what am I going to do now? And what hurt the most on that day was that I was working on this shop for 2 years and 5 months. And I was finding myself in this situation. I could not believe that after so much time, after so many nights where I slept like 3 or 4 hours working on making trendy designs, and I found myself in this situation. It was so sad to realize that not only I do not have
nice income to buy something for myself, but I can't even cover the Etsy funds and pay for the membership.
I never wanted to quit, and not even in this moment. I was always ambitious to go hard and do whatever it takes to make this work. But I felt so sad on that day because
I thought I would be so much further in my journey by that point, and it was just painful. And that day, before the day ended, the last order that I got in May was an order for 5 shirts, bachelorette. The next morning, June 1st, I woke up to a cha-ching, 10 sweatshirts. And then later that day, that Sunday,
later that Sunday, June 1st, I get an order, 15 shirts. It was the biggest order that I ever had, and it was the first time that listing was selling. The first order for that listing, bam, 15 shirts. And the next day, Monday, so Etsy took all what they need for the debt that I had in my payment account. And the next day on Monday, they sent me the deposit. I was able to pay Printify, and I was able to pay for the membership. And yeah, everything worked out. I was so scared when I didn't have the money for the membership. I thought, what's going to happen now is like the platform school is going to, kick me out, stop the membership if I don't pay it in a few days. What's going on? And then either I borrow some money, or I message Shauna and tell her.
Yeah, I would have been like, I would have been to go look for you and be like, where's Monica? Oh, no.
Yeah, and so everything worked out perfectly that Monday. I was left only with a little something, but I was so happy that I paid everything. Everything worked out. And
what followed after that Sunday, June 1st, was crazy.
It was unbelievable. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. So sorry, my baby, my
sweet boy,
came from a walk.
He needs to say hi.
Oh my goodness. Oh, he's so sweet. So sweet. Oh, they make life so much better.
Yeah. And then
what happened after that June 1st was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I was starting to get orders every day. When the last few months, maybe I got an order a day, an order every other day. Now I was getting orders every day. It started like 4 or 5 orders a day. Then it went up to 8, 10, 12 orders a day. I think the biggest one was like 15. 15. Yeah. And that listing that sold the first time on June 1st, 15 shirts, in 1 week had 40 sales. It was my first bestseller ever. And I have been wanting that for so long, like for 2.5 years. I've been wanting a bestseller badge, and I thought, when is it going to happen? What do I have to do? How long will it take? And it was finally here. It all happened in a week from its first sale. And then the next week, another listing started selling more and more. And
was it the same niche?
Yeah, it got a popular now badge, then a bestseller badge, and I couldn't believe what was happening. I did not expect that, and it was such a change from everything I experienced in my whole journey. I was designing one afternoon, and I hear a cha-ching. Then I always, every time I hear, I just do like a little happy dance, but I always hope for a group order. And when I look at it, I only see one item, but I realize it's a listing that's selling for the first time, and it's in the teacher niche. It's one of my recent designs, like less than a month old, one of the designs that I've been working on for back to school. So I thought, this is great. If it's selling already and it's not even back to school season, it's great. And then immediately after that, I remembered what you kept telling us in the membership, in the lives, that one day you'll get an order for multiple teacher shirts, but it will each teacher will purchase the shirt separately. They are all in a room, sitting, choosing their shirt, and then you'll hear one cha-ching after the other. I was hoping, yes, please let it be one of those situations when they are all in a room purchasing my listing. And then I did not even finish my thought. I hear another cha-ching. It was for the same listing, and I was, yay, it's happening. It's not just in my head, it's really happening. They are in a room purchasing my shirt.
Wow, so you went from a low place to a high place real fast. It's funny how our efforts all of a sudden, I know people on the other side of the screen hear this, but this is how it works. All of a sudden your efforts start to compound on each other and you don't see it coming necessarily. And it's a lot of time it's your second loop through the year. So you've got some traction from last year. And I wonder, Monica, if part of your decline in May was your strategy switch. So maybe last May, you were selling some things in niches that you let go of, but for the bigger picture of building these 3 niches out, and now it's compounding on itself. These niches come into their spotlight during this time of year.
Yeah, it might have been something like that, but I think it's better this way. I didn't like it at the end of May, but yes. I'm grateful now. Sometimes we don't know what we need. we think that what we want, it's, the right thing, but then we realize that we needed something else actually. And during these 3 weeks of June, when all these crazy things happened, I reached at the beginning of June, I think it was June 5th, when I reached 800 sales. 12 days later, I reached 900 sales, which is crazy because it took me months to reach the prior 100 sales batches. And then I reached from 900 sales to 1,000. I went in just 4 days. And all this happened in the first 3 weeks of June. And I was just processing orders, celebrating my milestones. I did not even have the time to look into my bank account. I told myself that as long as I don't get from Printify notification with payment failed, I will not even look in there to see what's in there. I'm just submit. And if everything works, I'm not even looking. Everything worked perfectly because Etsy made deposits every day and I was paying Printify and everything worked smoothly. And after 3 weeks, I decided to look because the sales have slowed down a bit. And I said, okay, now let's look into my bank account and see how much money did I make. And I had 1,200 euros in my bank account, all profit after paying all the expenses. And I was so happy. I couldn't believe it that I went from 16 euros at the end of May to 1,200 euros in just 3 weeks.
And making for a total 2,000 euros for all of the year last year. And then in like 15 days, you've made $1,000 profit already.
I was so happy. It was crazy what was happening. And even before I knew how much money I made during those days when orders were coming in, I just felt so happy. And I've always loved what I'm doing, even in the lowest months when things didn't work out so well. I always enjoyed what I was doing. I was having fun creating designs. But now I just felt so happy that all my work was finally paying off with so many orders coming in. And I was walking down the street, smiling, dancing. And it was just, I was sitting during the night to try to catch up on work because I had to process all these orders, but also make new designs. And I was just sitting there one night contemplating what amazing life am I living finally, and then as I was thinking about this, and I couldn't concentrate on designs. I was just thinking how great my life is. And as I was thinking this, another cha-ching came in and then another one, and just could not work anymore because I was so excited for what was going on in my shop and in my life. And when I also saw how much profit I made, that amplified the feeling even more. And I always knew this will work eventually, and I never wanted to quit. But now I'm just so confident that
I will make it and I will be a 6-figure Etsy seller, and nothing could happen now to shatter my confidence. Like, I'm doing this.
Love that. I love that. That's so exciting. And, you know, for one of the reasons your sales are having a little bit of a lull, you said that's slowed down a little bit. I was going to mention this earlier, and that's so super normal. I happen to know that Monica has a really well-performing 4th of July listing. The niche that you're doing in 4th of July, is that one of your niches that you're building out in your shop? Like, you're doing teacher. Is that also one that you're like feeding regularly throughout the year?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So, and that would be my suggestion for anyone listening. When you're hitting a holiday like 4th of July, you're hitting it not just from like this random place of a 4th of July shirt, but you're building on a niche that you're working on throughout the year. P.S. Don't do 4th of July teacher stuff. That's usually not a big one to make money with because teachers aren't in school for 4th of July. Monica messaged me in the membership and she said, "Oh, Shauna, can you check something?" So I popped in there. I was like, "Wait, Monica, do you know that you had, what was it, 144 in the cart or something like that?" It's just like, whoa. So 4th of July sales are dying down. So those listings are dying down. But Etsy works on momentum. So there'll be like this little lull. For me, one of the first places I got going was back to school teacher stuff. And so I had experienced this rush of sales during July and August. And then did a nosedive in September. And all the YouTubers saying, "You're going to make so much money in Q4." I'm like, "Yes, I'm ready." And then like, October dived down. I remember being at school and be like, why am I not doing better? Because I hadn't fed that. I hadn't gained traction there just yet. But the momentum was swinging from the teacher pendulum, and I was hustling to feed the Halloween one. And so it was back on the rise by like November as I kept doing Halloween and Christmas. And I know you've already fed the teacher back to school, which is going to start picking up in July. And so you're going to see
Very excited.
You're going to see the rise happening again. And the fact that you got the pendulum swinging a little bit with your teacher stuff here, as you told us about, and then with your 4th of July places that you decided to feed the algorithm in, you have this pendulum swinging. And those places where you were doing well with 4th of July, you could keep doing that because it's a evergreen type of niche. You could keep making those kinds of designs in Halloween and in Christmas. And so that thread is pulling you through. You're still on that pendulum of being able to build on that inertia that you're creating. You're going to great places right now.
I'm so excited.
I think your journey is going to be so inspirational to so many people because, we hear these stories, which is probably what got me started on Etsy, of people making great traction in 3 months. What that wasn't me. It was more like 9 months to get some traction and more like maybe 11 months to get like amazing traction. And then for you, 2.5 years later, you're like, whoa, like now. And it was like an upturn quickly. And I have worked with quite a few people at this point that it's that second year through where they're hitting all of their niches again. And here you've zoned in now on 3 of them. They're coming through and hitting them again. So for people who are constantly like working on different niches all the time, that it's very hard to get the fire started. And then it's a lot longer to see like that pendulum swinging. So you're sharing those insights with us when you looked and you're like, wait a second. This shop has like a couple hundred teacher listings. They have a couple hundred, whatever the niche is, and they're making sales there. It's funny. I know I'm not the only one that has done this. Through your journey, do you keep shops open that you have your eye on, that are doing well? Do you keep a tab open ever and then go refresh it to see how many sales they got that day?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I used to do that all the time. I'm like, oh, this shop's got like 67,000 sales. Let me see how many sales they get today. Oh my God, they got like 102 sales today. Like, I just refresh it every once in a while to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
Some things I had wanted to loop back to were your bestseller journey, which you shared with us. You've got 2 bestsellers now. I think you're going to have some teacher bestsellers really soon.
I hope so.
We have a teacher challenge in the membership. You've been completing that teacher challenge.
Yeah.
And then by the time this video goes out, we'll be doing a Halloween challenge. We'll probably be in the midst of it. And then we're going to do a Christmas challenge. I think by then by the time this video goes out, you're probably going to be experiencing some really nice teacher sales. Do you have any in mindset tips or thoughts that you want to leave with the person on the other side of the screen about mindset?
Yeah, of course. So I actually planned to recap at the end of this video that I think there are 3 things that you need in order to gain success and traction. And all of them are really, really important. So the first one is the designs based on research, and mockups go together, like they all have to be on trend and based on research. The second thing is what we just discussed. Do not pick too many niches at the same time. Try to be consistent all the year in just a few places and feed those fires. And try to hit every niche from the perspective of every holiday or event that's coming up, but don't go into many places. Like, I don't know, I chose 3, but maybe someone who doesn't have that much time, who's working a full-time job and maybe has kids and other responsibilities, maybe 1 or 2 niches would be best. But maybe someone who manages to create designs faster than me, maybe manages to concentrate better, then maybe they can manage 4 or 5 niches. Everybody should choose for themselves and know how many they can feed consistently, but don't go into many places, because I've been there. It's going to bring you a little bit of success, some sales, if your designs are good, but it's not going to get you where you want in the time frame that you want. And then the third thing that you need to combine with designs and a few niches and consistency is a strong mindset. You can't do this business without the strong, optimistic mindset. You have to believe that this will work for you. And you have to realize that everyone who got where you want to be started from zero, but also had other things going on in their lives while they were building their Etsy shops. Because it's so easy to look at interviews with people who made 100K revenue in 1 year, and this is so nice and amazing, but nobody is sharing what other things they had in their personal lives and what they were dealing with while they did this. And we tend to think, oh yeah, but they manage this because they're not a single mom, or they don't have kids, or they are not going through a divorce, or whatever it is, or they don't have the financial issues that I have. And we tend to see these people superior somehow, and we believe that for us it's harder to accomplish what they accomplished. But here's the thing: everybody goes through something in their personal lives while they're doing this, including Shauna, including Cassie, including all their students. Everybody goes at some point, obviously not the whole journey, but at some point they deal with something, whether it's grief or sickness in the family, or divorce, or financial issues, or just being overwhelmed by the fact that they have kids and a full-time job and they're trying to start a business, or maybe dealing with ADHD and they can't concentrate as much as they want to. Whatever it is, everybody is going through something. You're not alone. And if they manage to do this, you can absolutely do this too. It took me 14 months to get my first 100 sales. 14 months. And then from there, from 100 to 800, 100 sales were coming in like 2 or 3 months. It was so much better than my first 100 sales, but now I managed to get from 800 to 900 in 12 days, and from 900 to 1,000 in 4 days. And if I was able to go through that difficult period to find this business model, to find out what I want to do in my life, to find this creative job that I absolutely love and I'm having fun doing it, and it has the potential to bring me freedom of location and the money that I want. If I went through all of that, and in the meantime, I also had marriage issues sometimes. I had to work on that because I had some issues in my childhood, some trauma that I've been trying to heal, but that took a toll on everything that I was doing. Sometimes it was my marriage, other times it was my business, because even if I always believed that this will work eventually, there were some days where my mindset was not that good, because I kept thinking, what if I'm going to fail at this too? Like I'm willing to do this for how long it takes, but what if I will fail? What if I will fail like I did in the past with other things? And then my self-confidence level was very low as well. I grew up, I turned into this young woman that didn't believe in herself, and I had to work on my mindset every single day. I had to remind myself that I can do this. It's like sometimes I have two people inside my head, and one of them is telling me bad things and the other one good things, trying to encourage the other one. But I had to work on this, on my mindset every single day, reminding me that I can do this. And if I was able to go through all of that, to work 2.5 years to get where I've gotten, and dealing with all those other things in my life, then my God, you can do this too. There's absolutely no excuse or reason good enough that you can come up with why you can't accomplish what I did and so much more.
I love that. And you gave me chills. You said, my God, if I can do this, you can do this too.
Yes, anybody can.
If it's, if you needed to hear that, the person on the other side of the screen, if you needed to hear that, Monica just told you, if we can do this, we can do this too. We are just so average and so normal. And I feel like, going back to, if whatever video reached you, and if you remember that video, go down and leave it in the comments. The video that made you feel like, no, I could do this too. Because I feel like those are the videos that are changing people that come across this business model. And of course, there's other business models that, like, when I first came across this, I'm like, oh my God, like, if this, I didn't come across the only business model in the world that could do this for someone, right? Like, and since then I've looked into other stuff, but there's at some moment where you hear someone on the other side of the screen that makes you feel like, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it. We get emotional. If I, like, they're saying I can do it, so I can do it. And I think that that's like a moment that a lot of people that have persevered through this journey hold on to. And the fact that you persevered, most people would not have stuck with it as long as you've stuck with it. And that is just a testament to, like, everyone says it compounds on one another. Your efforts compound on one another once you get to a certain point, and you're experiencing that now. And thank goodness you kept going, and it's only going to get better. Now you know how to design, and now you've got momentum. Momentum in your shop is so important. Once that starts and you figured out how to make designs people want to buy, it just keeps tumbling into this, like, beautiful place. Your results are only going to get that much more impressive as we get closer to the holidays.
Yeah. And you mentioned that not a lot of people stuck with this for so long. And about that, I wanted to say something that I realized with this amazing 3 weeks that I had in June. I was so disappointed and frustrated on the last day of May. What I realized now, after those 3 weeks that brought crazy sales, was that you never know when the next day is going to be the first day of the most amazing and most successful 3 weeks in your life. You never know when tomorrow is going to bring that for you, right? Because on the last day of May, I never thought that the next day, on June 1st, this crazy thing will start in my shop. I had no idea. Yeah, you never know when tomorrow is the first day of the most amazing and successful 3 weeks you've ever had up to that point. Mindset is so important. You should start every day with an optimistic thought that this will work and that maybe today will be the best day in your shop so far. And you have to go, at the end of the day, you have to go to bed with the same feeling that even if today didn't work out as you hoped, you did something good. You have to find something to be grateful for that day. Maybe it's a sale, maybe it's a favorite, maybe it's just the fact that you managed to make 10 or 20 unique trendy designs, or 5 or whatever, or just one, but it's with such a new trend, you manage to incorporate it and it looks good and you're proud of it. Whatever it is, you have to go to bed with a great feeling about yourself, and then the next morning start the day with another optimistic thought that something good will happen. You have to believe this every day, and you have to
Make that voice in your head your friend instead of your enemy, because it could go both ways, and it's up to you which way it goes. And you have to make that voice your friend. This works for everything in life, not just Etsy, but you have to be your biggest supporter and cheerleader in this journey in order to get where you want to go, and to be the next person interviewed on Shauna's channel.
I love everything about what you just said. It is such a muscle, and it goes into every area of your life of being, you could be your best friend or your worst enemy in your head. And most people are their worst enemy. We are harder on ourselves. If you wake up in the morning and you look at yourself and go, oh my God, the bags under my eyes, or oh my gosh, my hair looks like a mess. Stop yourself dead in the track, like dead in your tracks. Absolutely not. Do not talk to yourself like that, right? Like,
yeah, or maybe you're thinking about your problems, what happened the day before, and now you have to do it all again. And
I can't do this. What if it doesn't work? All of those things, you just flip them. Like, just like it takes consistent work in your Etsy shop with listings to get your Etsy shop going, it takes consistent mindful work in your mind to go, no, every time I hear myself say that, I'm going to switch the dialogue. I'm not going to say I can't do this. Oh, I don't know how to do this yet. Or, oh my gosh, my hair looks like a mess. Oh, look at that. Change that. Like, wow, look at that beautiful hair that I'm,
find something positive.
Find something positive to switch to. I love myself today. Instead of picking yourself apart for some reason or other, you really should be your biggest cheerleader. And that is not 2 seconds to do. That has been, for me too, Monica, that has been hard work. And every day going back and like being mindful of it. And until one day you don't have to be as mindful of it, because you've learned.
Yeah.
You've cut yourself so many times and redirected yourself, because it's easier once you're doing that. You kind of feel like just continuing like that. Like, I want to.
Yeah, it comes natural after a while, but it was a long journey for me as well.
And then it becomes more often that you're saying the nice thing to yourself than the mean thing. And then the other thing that I want to put a spotlight on that you mentioned throughout this interview was that you've enjoyed this. You've enjoyed making designs. You didn't always enjoy every part of the journey because you wanted to make money doing this, and it did not go as quickly as you would have liked. But you have found a way to enjoy it, and leading back to that, having gratitude, waking up with an optimistic mindset. I think that's so important. It's definitely something that I had throughout my journey, and content was part of the reason that I had that. Listening to people on the other side of the screen that were there and said, my God, if I can do it, you can do it too. And there is space for you.
Absolutely.
There is space for you, 100%. Every time there's a new trend, which, believe me, there's a new trend. There's like, I'm covering 10 of them in my trend report in the membership every single month. 10 new trends, every single month. And I'm not covering everything. It's just what I've noticed.
Yeah.
And those are popping up every time there's a new trend. Every single design that's ever been done, it's no longer saturated. It has space, because now everyone wants it with this new trendy style or look that's popping off, this new aesthetic that's popping off. So finding a way to just enjoy the journey and enjoy the process. And then for me, that looked like also throughout my journey, it was definitely for me, I started to become really proud of, like, I'm someone that does what I say I'm going to do. And I was really proud of that, even though it wasn't leading anywhere for so long. And then I was like, okay, I'm an entrepreneur now. If this business doesn't work, I'm going to be trying something else because
Yeah.
I have this piece of my personality now that I really like that new version of Shauna, that new layer to Shauna, you know?
The boss babe.
Yeah. Like, I don't give up. Like, that's it. I'm going to try. And I'm not, I'm going to go down with a fight with everything that I do. So I love that. I think that was a really important thing that you highlighted.
Yeah, I've always been the same. I'm not gonna give up. I'm fighting for this. But then when I met you, on YouTube, when I discovered you, I was like, she's like me, and if she was able to do this, I'm going to be able to do this. We're both aggressive. It's just it took me
roller
so long.
and like
Yeah.
climb and through the trench and go for it.
It took me so long to understand research and to understand not to go too many places at the same time, but now I know it. Now I combine that with with aggressiveness, with a strong mindset, and we are doing this.
That's right. Like,
Yes.
and anyone that comes across this video, they'll have the shortcut because those three things that you layered in just now, they were excellent. Like, niche it down to just 3 places that you're going to work on throughout the year. Be consistent, be on trend. These are big concepts, but they're actually kind of simple. And talk nice to yourself. Talk nice to yourself. Like, these are such huge things. If you enjoyed this interview, please, please, please go down and subscribe because we'll follow up with Monica and see how she's doing in a couple months.
After the teacher season.
And make sure you like the video so that Monica knows you enjoyed the conversation that we had going on here. And we know to come back and do it again. Monica, thank you bunches and bunches for meeting with me. And I so enjoyed getting to chat with you deeply today. Thank you.
Yeah, this was so much fun, so exciting. Thank you so much for having me on your channel. It's unbelievable that I'm here on interviews after I watched so many other interviews. But it was so fun to chat with you. And thank you so much for everything that you shared with us on YouTube in the membership. It has helped me so much. And thank you so much to everyone who's watching. And thanks for hanging out with us in the chat because I know I will be there.
That's right. We're still chatting right now.
And, I hope that this video was an inspiration for you. Please, please remember every single day that you can do this. Anybody can. I don't care what has happened in your past, what is going on in your life right now. You can do this. I know it. Shauna knows it. Cassie knows it. Everybody who achieved success knows and believes you can do this too. Why won't you believe in yourself and this business? Please believe it is possible for you.
I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to getting together with you today and doing an interview.
Same.
And I can't tell you also like how invested I've been in your journey. Like, I'll get emotional. I have been so invested in your journey. I'm like, no, Mana, I have to do whatever it takes. I didn't ever give up vibes from you, but I was like, it's taking a while and she cannot give up. She just cannot give up. Like, the growth is happening, but it's not as fast as we want, but it's going to be like, and then when you said 100 sales in 4 days, I was like, oh, that's it. I never have
the
to.
Momentum is here. And thank you so much that you've been so invested in my journey because I always felt like I have a friend, but someone who actually knows what this is about and what it feels like to do so many listings and designs. And because I obviously I have my husband who, as I said, he's been amazing, very supportive, but you were someone who actually has been through the exact same steps and knows what it feels like. And so I really felt that I had a friend in you.
What do you do? Yeah, I'm so glad. I know it's getting late over there. I'll let you go. I love you, Monica. Thank you so much.
I love you too so much. Thank you for, I'm so grateful that you've started YouTube, that I got the chance to find you on YouTube, and then that you've started the membership. The membership is like one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Aww.
I realized, I told you I realized on my own doing that activity that my designs were not good, and I started doing research and all that. But when the membership started, that was like a game changer. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you watch Joy's interview next, because she's such a wonderful person. She's with me in the membership. She's always been so helpful, and you definitely don't want to miss her journey. So make sure you watch this video next, but not until that tip from Tucker. Tucker, take it away!